Hey, welcome to All Things Cozy with Gillian.
And Matt.
We are a bi-weekly podcast about everything that is warm, soft, and comforting. Today's episode pays long overdue tribute to one of the coziest animals, cats. We've howled for the dogs with our Pup Culture Dogs on TV episode, so it's only right that we explore the fabulous world of felines. We'll also talk about our experiences at this year's CatCon and the Fierce, the Story of Cats exhibit running through February 2026 at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles. But before we meow our hearts out, it's time for Cozy in the News.
Gillian, you've heard of the Oscars, but what about the Pawskers? Every year, the UK's leading cat charity, Cats Protection, hosts an awards ceremony to honor the perfect cat companions who inspire, comfort, and amaze. The National Cat Award 2025 nominees include Callie, a social media star, Kiki, who walks her human to school every day, and Carrot, the oldest senior cat of the bunch, who was adopted when her owners asked for, quote, the saddest cat in the shelter. The 2024 winner was Marley, a cat who provided comfort at a safe house for trafficked women. The winning cat owner will receive a trophy, £200 to spend at a pet store, and a year's subscription to The Cat magazine. The winner will be celebrated at this year's ceremony on September 24th. Check out the playlist of the nominees on YouTube to watch so many hysterical and heartwarming stories.
I wonder if us Yankees can vote, because I will definitely get in on the voting.
Yeah, I wonder that too. The voting is currently closed for this year, but keep an eye out for voting to resume in 2026. And the winners will be announced very soon after this episode is dropped. So be on the lookout for who won in 2025.
Very cute. And I think the name Carrot is the cutest name for a cat.
It really is. Jillian, what is on your news desk this week?
Well, Matt, this story definitely gets my stamp of approval. In celebration of its 250th anniversary, the U.S. Postal Service has launched a nostalgic contest. They're bringing back one of 25 retired stamp designs, and the winner will be announced at the Boston 2026 World Expo next May. Among the contenders, 1997's Bugs Bunny, 2018's Mr. Rogers, and 2021's Star Wars droids, to name a few. According to the Postal Service's website, you can vote online at the Stamps Forever site or mail in a paper ballot. The contest closes September 30th, just 9 days after this episode drops, so be sure to cast your vote soon. Personally, I'm rooting for Bugs Bunny to hop back into the mix.
We're very competition heavy in our news today.
Lots of voting.
I would be voting for Total Eclipse of the Sun. I really think that's a cool stamp series.
I didn't realize how much I had gotten into stamps. But maybe because of the podcast and I'm sending out the cozy swag, I try being more mindful of the stamps. Unfortunately, I have a really boring, just like your classic American flag stamp, as in a pinch at CVS. But I try to get the cute ones when I can. My favorite one I ever got was of cats, actually. It's for Valentine's Day, and these adorable cartoon cats with hearts. I don't know if I told you the story. When I bought them, I saw them in that glass case at the post office. They have them, all the new stamps in a glass case. And I said, wow, that really makes my day, these cat stamps. And the post office guy said, really? I guess a little not very cozy.
What a way to rain on your parade.
I know. I was so excited. They were so adorable. And a few lucky listeners definitely got those stamps. Well, now that we're all caught up with the news, let's take a whiff of catnip and get whiskered away into a feline loving frenzy. Snuggled up and hidden in a library bookstack. Walking beside a friendly witch strolling through a crisp fall night. Fast asleep in the glow of a sunbeam. Cats are synonymous with cozy imagery, even if you consider yourself more of a dog person. When many of us think of felines, we think of comfort personified. They're the original self-care enthusiasts, self-grooming, fiercely protective of their personal space, and connoisseurs of only the finest treats. But when they're not perched on their thrones, casting judgment on us mortals, cats are busy showing off their iconic personalities. Every breed and coat type is distinct, from the vocal, moody tortie, who somehow gives the most love, aka Snickers, to the fluffy Persian with a mischievous streak, to the Russian blue who pairs deep loyalty with a bright, curious mind. To roll up the ball of yarn, the world of cats is vast, quirky, and full of sweet surprises. And we're just lucky to be living in it. So before we leave our cat condo to explore Fierce and CatCon 2025, let's celebrate our shared love of all things feline, including the real and fictional kitties who've given us the zoomies. So, Matt, tell me about your first experiences with cats. Were you an OG cat lover? Did it take some time?
Well, before I dive into my cat origin story, I want to say I'm so excited to be really focusing on cats as a topic for an episode. Part of our process for planning the episodes of this show is every 6 months, we plan out the episodes that are coming up. And we do that separately. We each fill in our own, what a season would look like for us. And then we meet and we just pick our best ideas. And for this season, we both had plotted a cat episode because we both had realized that, and maybe this is because we are cat people and we talk about cats a lot, that maybe we thought that a whole
Mhm.
episode dedicated to the cat was unnecessary. Once we had done the dog episode last year, it only made sense that, hey, wait a minute, we're such cozy cat people. We have to do an episode dedicated to cats. So I'm so excited that we're finally having our moment in the sunbeam for our cats here on All Things Cozy.
I'm shocked that it's taken this long for us to get here, but glad that we are here now.
Absolutely. So back to my first experiences with cats. So all my best friends in elementary school had cats. And I don't know if it was just because I wanted to fit in or maybe because I had those early experiences. I knew how to read a cat and knew that they were a great companion, could be a wonderful pet. I had like a guinea pig growing up. And even that was like a surprise to my mom and stepdad because I don't think my aunt told them that she was going to give me a guinea pig for Christmas, which I'm sure there was a heated phone call the next day about doing that without any heads up.
I bet.
Eventually, we had an opportunity to rescue a cat. I'm going to save that story when we talk about the cats in our personal lives. But yeah, I just think it was because they were all around. And my very first experiences with cats were cats that friends had. So one was a polydactyl ginger. And then the two others that I remember were runts of the litter. They were both like little ladies zooming
Aw.
around. One was named Magic, and she was like a kind of brown and black and white cat. I'm not even sure what to call that coat exactly. And Patches, who was a black and white cat.
They're
And our
cute.
family had a calico named Kit Kat that we got when I was in fifth grade. But I'll talk more about Kit Kat in a little bit. Jillian, I want to hear about your origin story as the eventual rise to being one of the greatest cat ladies of our age.
Well, Matt, thank you for bestowing that title upon me. Yeah, I think also you maybe influenced me as well because when I was younger, all my friends had dogs, with the exception of my one friend who had a cat. But I was in pure terror every time I was over her house because for whatever reason, this cat just looking back on it, I don't say the cat had out for me. It's just that I didn't know how to engage with cats properly. So maybe don't make eye contact right away.
I think the cat probably had it out for you. Some cats just they want to defend their turf, and if you're not part of the pride, then you're a target.
Yeah, and I got my fair share of scratches, and she would just lunge at me, and I have more empathy for this cat now, but at the time, my nemesis. And then fast forward, I met you, you love cats, and so I started to mix in with fellow cat lovers. And then in my 20s, I moved in with a roommate in Los Angeles who had a cat named Oscar with a K, and Oscar was this wow, what a personality and attitude on Oscar. He was from New Orleans. He was a street cat that got adopted. So he was really tough and would spend time on my bed. So he had soft spots and be really sweet at times, even though he had a really tough exterior. And it seemed like he liked me, even though one time I'll never forget, we were in the living room. Oscar strolls in, we lock eyes, and I just knew something bad is going to happen. Oscar ran and charged at me full speed, and I was screaming my head off. And we got it past it, but maybe something like maybe a spirit ran through me or something. I don't know what happened. It was really
Did he
strange.
go for your shins? Like what was it he aimed
It
at
was
when he
like
was
full
lunging?
body run, like just a body it was crazy.
Did you
I
get
don't
out of the
know, like
way or was there a
he
tussle?
got me a bit. He, like, body slammed into me and scratched my shins a little bit, and I ran through the kitchen. I had to go through the kitchen to get to my room, and I just slammed the door shut 'cause I didn't know if he was gonna come back for seconds. I never did it ever again. It was just this weird passing moment between us. But anyway, he was really sweet. He was just a big fat tabby, and he had a few health issues, but he would always stand his ground. He would fight with the courtyard cats because he was allowed to go outside. So yeah, he would go on. He lived in Baltimore too. 'Cause my roommate also lived in Baltimore, and he would go disappear for weeks at a time and just show back up. And God knows what he was doing, but independent man.
I love a cat about town, especially where I live in Los Angeles. There are so many cats just out and about, and some of them belong to somebody like in the neighborhood, but a lot of them are just strays. The feral cats, for the most part, avoid people at all times, but some of the
Yeah.
other cats that have gotten comfortable with people are extremely friendly. Right now, one of the newcomers is a calico, and she's really funny because
Mm.
she doesn't know what she wants. She'll just run across the street, which is reckless, to get
Mhm.
to me, and she'll do that thing where, like, there's a gesture toward rubbing on the leg, but the cat doesn't quite make contact. I never know what that's about. It's like the cat, like, stops short of it, but still does the movement and the tail twitch.
So cute.
She does that a lot, like, shy, but clearly, like, wanting the attention. And my all-time favorite, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on the show at one point, but there was a tuxedo, like a long hair tuxedo cat who was like the mayor of Larchmont practically, and was all over the place, like so friendly, would walk with you when you were on a walk. One night, we had our back door open, which is into our living room with a screen, and we see him show up to our porch.
Page visit. Wow.
We let him in, and he lounged around for most of the night with us, just hung out. And then he got up
What a
and, like, you know,
treat.
sat by the door when he was ready to go and just sauntered out. But we got to have a pet cat for a night, and he went about his
We're
merry way from there.
royalty.
I know. I haven't seen him for a long
Wow.
time. I think people got way less
Mhm.
cavalier about leaving their cats outside when they saw some coyotes in our neighborhood, and I think he's still happy with his family, but he's no longer allowed outside.
I think that's wise. I could definitely see how you would be a cat siren because you are very cozy and calm, and you're not one for sudden movements. So I think even if you might be anxious internally, you do a very good job of not showing it outward, which I think is key to attracting cats. They need to feel safe in your presence and they can't see your fear.
Yeah, I barely ever move at
I
all,
didn't feel
so
like that. You're a big couch potato, so yeah, you're a cat siren. No, I didn't mean it like that. Anyways. Well, because we already touched on this, what makes cats cozy to us, but is there anything in our OG origin stories that we didn't cover about what makes cats cozy?
I think aside from the obvious stuff, they are really emblematic of quiet, calm, even coziness. Like, there's a reason we have a cat mascot because when we think of a cozy interior, like somewhere in that room, I imagine a cat curled up. I really love that about cats. I think there's a very calming pet when they're calm. What I also love about cats is that they're also little idiots sometimes and can get very excited and do silly things, zoomies. They have a lot of arrogance and pride. And whenever any cat that I've had that has made a mistake acts like they never did that, they never fell off the chair, like whatever it was, the way they walk away from failure is really funny. You can see they're wounded on the inside, but they try to play it off like they're not. I know this is a common thing with cats. It's like, oh, you know, you dog owners, like they just give you the love, but with cats, you have to earn it. Listen, sometimes you just want the love. And it is actually great with dogs that they're so there for you all the time versus a cat is kind
Yeah.
of like take it or leave it sometimes. Another thing is that like there are so many different types of personalities that all pets have, of course, all animals have, of course, but cats really seem to have quite a diverse array of emotions and moods. I do like the relationship building that cats take because it feels like once you do have that trust and you do have that connection, it's really special. A lot of times, cat owners know your cat will really bond with you and your family, and maybe some select individuals who visit often. But when a stranger pops by or something they're unfamiliar with, they go immediately under the bed or into a closet. They get out of there. They don't want to be anywhere near that. And it does make you feel a little special by extension. The other thing I'll say is that what I love about cats, and this goes to your cat attack story, is they're still pretty wild. They're not domesticated in the way that they are totally formed to living with a human and to our needs. Cats are still very wild. It's more like they choose to cohabitate with us more than it is that we've ever domesticated them. It's more of a mutual relationship than some other pets. And I do like that element of them that there's still a little bit of the tiger and lion in them. And it is fun to see them hunt and pounce and play and jump. Sometimes it's like you have your own little mini National Geographic going on in your house with the cat.
No, seriously, and you tapped into something really special about cats. The word you used was there's so much diversity in their behaviors and personalities, and that's so true. So I think about my cats and how they're sweet and adorable, can be really cuddly, but then they are just so independent. And when you're talking to them, like get off the counter, you can see their ears twitch, but they'll just sit on the counter and stay. Whereas Canella, she won't even go outside before we give her permission to and say, "Okay, you can go out." And so she was so easily trained, and you can't train cats. Well, I guess some maybe have achieved that.
I've seen some of those, yeah, like cats that can do tricks and stuff. I think it's
Yeah,
possible.
the little twins I have over here on however be possible for them. But like you said, building trust and building those relationships, you first babysat Snickers and Reese's, my cats, when I first got them. And I
Mhm.
feel like that bond that you cemented with them super early on, even though it was like a brief few times, they still remember you, I think, because whenever you're over, they'll come out and want to cuddle and spend time with you.
I feel very honored for that. I do notice, especially Reese's, she's the calico, Jillian's
Mhm.
calico cat. She's always the first to come out and hang out and say hi to me. And then Snickers will follow her after maybe 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, and they have some, like you were saying, also some zoo-like National Geographic moments, especially now in our new house, there's a lot more places to climb and jump into, so we'll see them zooming around, and I love their zaniness. I learned that cats can see wavelengths and things that we can't perceive as humans, so we'd always be making fun of Snickers because she'll sometimes put her paws on the wall and look around, like, turn her head around like she's looking at something. We're like, "Oh, what a bozo," like, lovingly, because she's kinda zany. And then now I'm thinking she's probably seeing all these formulas whizzing by, like, it's all the secrets of the world. But yeah, also how they can have so many different personalities. My cats are so different from one another. I have a tortie. She's like very sassy and makes a lot of noises. I didn't know cats made a lot of noises until I had my own. I thought they were silent outside of meowing, but all the little trills they do, the little meep meeps,
Yeah.
I think is so cute. I love that. And they're great pets for elderly folks or folks who don't want to be very active or can't be active, which I think is really cozy. They kind of shape to be the companion that you need, which I think is really special.
When they purr, especially, that uncontrollable comfort that they're experiencing and they can't contain it. It's just you can tell, it's like you're
I know.
purring, so you're pretty good here. I know sometimes cats purr when they're injured to self-heal, but 99% of the time when a cat's purring in your presence, it's because they're comfortable and they're happy. And it's so nice to have that like nonverbal communication because they don't speak, we can't communicate, but there is that kind of communication where you can tell they're happy, just like a dog wagging its tail. And it feels so good to know that the cat is happy and comfortable with you.
Yeah, or when they're making little
Oh, yeah, the biscuits.
yeah, breads. Yeah, little biscuits. That's so cute. That's when they feel safe with you or see you almost as a parental type
You
figure.
had some suckling happening with your cats because they
Yeah, so I was just about to
yeah.
say, as we bizarrely called it, "Oh, Reese's wants to nurse." We actually had, like, a nursing blanket. So Reese's can have some anxiety, and at least when she was little, they were separated from their mom pretty early on, and so Reese's at night would kind of get upset and cry and get be very restless. We had these very soft throw blankets. We noticed Reese's would like to suckle on it, so at night, I would just put the suckle blanket on, or my partner would put the suckle blanket on, and we'd let her, quote, unquote, "nurse," and then she would fall asleep and would just be good for the night. So it was kind of this ritual. She grew out of it, but it was really cute when she was doing it because it really felt like we were nursing a little baby and put
Aw.
her to bed. It was really cute.
Let's talk a little bit about those cats that have scratched our heart in our personal lives, because one thing I remember from when you got your kittens, we've always adopted cats that were adults. And so I had never experienced the kitten stage or like the adolescence, and they're so cute as kittens. What I wasn't prepared for was when they were like around 1 to 2, like that span of time. Like a 2-year-old cat has so much energy, and it
Mhm.
truly is a lot to handle, like, the amount of running and banging into things and noise, like, truly rambunctious. I've never experienced that before. They really do go through, like, an awkward adolescence.
They do. Yep. I remember we stupidly got a real life Christmas tree in the apartment, and they were, I think they're a year old or something. Or no, they're only a few months. And so they were climbing in it and then chasing each other around like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like around the tree. And then our downstairs neighbor took a broom and started, banging on their ceiling. And that was a big fear for us because they were so rambunctious and they were running around and playing, being sisters and having fun together. And the thing that's heartbreaking is now that we're in a house with no downstairs neighbors, now they can run around, but they're older now and they want to sleep.
They don't have that kind of energy, or at least they don't have the same kind of impulses. When did your cats calm down? Was it like around the 1 year period when they started to act like more adult cats, or like 2 years?
Definitely on the later half of 2.
Yeah.
They love to play and run, and when we went out, we would sometimes put them in these little play pens, which had, like, their toys, like a zip-up kinda thing, like you use for, like, outdoor cats if they wanna go outside, because we knew that they would just go wild in the apartment if we didn't do that. I miss that stage, I just wish we had a better venue for it because I would have loved to really have leaned into that. 'Cause we would always kind of have to admonish them, like, "Oh, Reese's," or "Don't do that," and they weren't doing anything wrong, so it was always really heartbreaking when we had to kind of break up the play. But yeah, I would say around 2 or so, they were really active when they were little, especially when they were kittens. I wasn't expecting that. But they would fight on my lap when they were kittens, and they would one time they typed a message on Slack. I'm like, "Oh, do my coworkers think I'm drunk?" Like, they were just, like, going all around. But I have talking about Reese's and Snickers all day. What about your cats, Matt, the ones that have left an imprint on you?
So the cats that I've had in my personal life, first was my childhood cat that we got when I was in elementary school. Her name was Kit Kat, like the candy. It's so funny actually that like you ended up naming your cats Snickers and Reese's, and I had a Kit Kat. She was named by her previous owner, who was my mom's friend, because she was a calico and she had all the colors of a Kit Kat plus white. So it was like, oh, it's the wafer interiors, like the kind of ginger color, and then you have the blacks and browns, and then the white. And she was a really large cat. She was a big calico lady. So her story was like she was abandoned in a box by the side of the road in rural Wisconsin. All of
Hmm.
the litter died except for her. She was rescued by my mom's friend, but they had a chihuahua. And the chihuahua would terrorize Kit Kat. And that actually left a scar on her mental health. She was always
Yeah, I
very
can imagine.
defensive and aggressive. I think because she was always fighting for her life with that chihuahua. By the time she got to us, she finally mellowed out and she really built relationships with each of the members of my family. She would sleep on our chest. She would cuddle like when she wanted to. She loved to play, but she didn't know how to play in a way that had been. When you have a cat, you make sure that you don't like teach it that your hand is a toy, or like that like it's okay to bite
Yeah.
really hard, but like Kit Kat did not get that memo, and so she'd go for our shins, or like when she's playing actually
Wow.
there was some times when she would be in total like chaos mode by her litter box. She would just defend her turf and she'd pop out at you randomly. And then that night she's like sweet as
Wow.
can be, like sleeping on you. So she would just had these like moods. When she got you, it was a big deal because she, again, like I said, she was a large cat. And she passed away when I was in college. There was really no follow-up cat. But then my mom kind of broke down and was like, I want another cat. And I think she had gotten stuck on the fact that Kit Kat was a calico. So when she went to the shelter, she gravitated toward the calico she saw. Her name is Frankie, and I've talked about Frankie on this podcast before. I posted some photos of Frankie on our Instagram. She's really funny because she's a smaller cat and she's very pretty, but she has almost like an owlish round face.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she's a very cute looking cat, and she has a lot of personality, and she's a mom. She had a litter of kittens in Franklin Park, which is where she was found, and her kittens were adopted before her. My mom took Frankie herself, and so we called her Frankie because she was found in Franklin Park. And because
Oh,
Grace and Frankie was a thing, so I was like, "Oh, you're Grace and she's Frankie."
so cute.
She is so sweet. She's not very cuddly, but she loves touch. She's the least food-driven cat I've ever known. She doesn't really care for food or treats, probably because my mom constantly has like nonstop buffet of whatever she wants to eat. It's never going to motivate her, but she loves getting pets, and she especially loves getting bongos. But bongos, like, ever seen someone bongo a cat, like where you like
Mhm.
you hit their hindquarters a lot, and they get the elevator butt, and really she will
She
beg for
loves
it.
it.
She
Yeah.
harasses me when I'm there.
I've seen videos.
And she also can't really meow. She has like a croaky voice, so she just goes meh, meh, until I acquiesce. She's very freaky,
She's Freaky Frankie.
but I love her and she's such a sweet cat.
Oh, yeah. I love when you send me videos and photos of Frankie. She's so unique, and that just goes back to what we're saying, like, every single cat, we could tell different personal anecdotes, and they each have a unique little noise that they make, and Some cats like to get their hiney smacked, some don't. After you told me about the Frankie hiney smacking, I was like, "Oh, I gotta try it on my cats," because I'm still kind of learning even now, like,
Some cats don't like that.
I really don't. I just try and smack Snickers big behind, and she's just kind of like, "Okay, what are you doing?
What are you doing, lady?
What are you doing?" They each have their own little things or, like, where they like to be scratched, but Frankie, what a special story. I wonder where her kittens ended up. Are they still in the area?
They're all over Chicagoland. If you live there and have a cat, you might have
Yeah.
Frankie's kitten, who knows?
Well, she lives on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might have mini Frankie. Just so sweet. The only other cat that I wanna mention, because I already went on a long tale about Reese's and Snickers, we have this stray cat we call Reese's his boyfriend. I don't know why it's Reese's boyfriend. I don't know why we're also trying to romanticize our cat or give it her love life. It's a white and light brown cat, and it definitely looks like it's seen some things. The fact that it's gone this long in Coyote Central, because we live on a peak, the coyotes are out all the time. I don't know if she belongs to someone or he belongs to someone on the street, but I just see it going through other backyards. And the most adorable things, we have cameras facing the backyard. And we sometimes leave toys out there because Canella likes the cat toys and she'll bring it outside and just leave it. We'll have catnip toys. And we saw on the camera Reese's boyfriend playing with one of the catnip toys. And it was so cute 'cause she was just in the sunshine or he, and it was this turkey, like, looking like, up for
Aw.
Thanksgiving, and she was just batting around the turkey, having the best time, and that just moment of levity that I don't think a lot of stray cats get to enjoy. I really need to save that clip because it's so, so sweet and cute, and I just wish stray cats had more of that opportunity to have fun and lightness because 'cause they're just mostly in survival mode.
Yeah, and you probably saved a bird's life that day because it got its energy out on that turkey toy. We saw in that cat exhibit that they kill, like, what, 2.5 million birds a year?
Yeah, it's more than anything else
Yeah.
outside of, electricity wires. That yeah, it's so wild. But speaking of cats that we love, let's switch it now to fictional cats. Or we can also discuss some celebrity cats because that's fictional to us since we don't interact with them regularly. What fictional or celeb cats stroke your cat tree? Scratcher,
I'll keep this brief. So, obviously, everyone knows I like Hocus Pocus. I would say Binks, the black cat from that. Obviously, human technically, but Binks is great.
obviously.
Grumpy Cat, for sure, when we come to social media icons, the OG famous cat. Such a distinct face, birthed a million memes. What an icon, Grumpy Cat. And finally, Garfield. I don't hate Mondays as much as Garfield hates Mondays. I do love lasagna, but I know Garfield's a little overplayed at this point. It was such a huge thing when I was a kid, and I loved reading the comic strips,
Mm.
like the Sunday Funnies with Garfield, and watching the cartoon. That even though it seems a bit cliche, I still have a lot of love for Garfield.
So there's some great picks. I also gravitated toward a human trapped in a cat with Salem. I love Salem's zany outfits, and that's honestly probably why Salem really resonates with me. I still see those memes of Salem, and I just crack up every time I see it. Going to a celeb cat, so not from a movie or TV show, I really like the littlest Lolo. She's on Instagram and her tagline, "Your tiny tortie queen." I love a tortie. I think they have probably the most personality out of all the cat coats or breeds. Don't come for me. She has these adorable big eyes, and her fur is like a toasted almond with some white and black speckled in. I think she's just adorable, and I love all the photos of the littlest Lolo. And her mean mug expressions remind me of Snickers. That's probably why I'm drawn to Lolo.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about her pattern is that she has like pretty symmetrical orange
Hmm.
kind of eyebrows. It makes it look like she's always like having an arched brow thing going on. And she has the most perfect little snout. It
So
looks like a
cute.
cartoon almost. So I think those elements make her very photogenic.
And she has 16,000 followers, which is really impressive.
Yeah, way more than we do.
Yes. More than we'll ever will.
Yes.
Now that we strutted down the catwalk of our favorite felines, let's recap our visits to CatCon and Fierce, the story of cats. We're going to start with CatCon, but first, if you're not familiar, let's recap what it is. Founded by former television producer and journalist Susan Michaels, CatCon is the biggest cat-centric pop culture event in the world dedicated to all things feline, with a community of cat lovers that spans the globe, per the events about page. The description continues: part expo, part symposium, CatCon engages, educates, and entertains thousands of fans, featuring the latest and groundbreaking products and ideas for cats and their people. Since its inception in 2015, the annual 2-day immersive experience has welcomed over 100,000 attendees. So, I'd always been interested in going to CatCon. I think I was out of town last year, so I was happy that we both could make it work this year. And we purchased tickets, and you have to get on those tickets fast because we learned that they sell out very quickly. And they are a little pricey. I believe, Matt, it was $45 a pop.
About that, yeah, 45 to 50. If you bought it that day, 50.
And it's in Pasadena, and I live very close to Pasadena, so it's in the LA area. Obviously, we're very excited, but how did your overall impression of the event stack up against your per expectations?
When I think CatCon, I think of all these cat enthusiasts getting together, and somehow I just imagine like cats at booths, which when I really think about it when I
Same.
was there is not good for the cat. It's too noisy, it's frightening. I get why there weren't cats everywhere, but I still really missed the cat presence. I felt like it was way more people than cats. It was very crowded. It's more of like stuff that's geared toward cat owners, like cat trees and cat beds and food items, toys. And that makes sense. But then there's just as many things that are just like cat pop culture things, like paintings. And there's a place for all of that, but it felt like I could have bought any of those things and not had to pay $50 for the privilege of it. I
Right.
was wondering at the end of it, like, what was that for exactly? Because I don't know that I got anything out of it except for things all being brought together. But it wasn't like I was necessarily like in the market for a cat painting or something, and I had to go to CatCon to get it. There's really nothing there that you can't get outside of CatCon. And then you think of cons too. It's like this is a chance for people who like something to get together and talk about it. But there really wasn't that much community. There weren't really many sessions happening. It wasn't like you could go learn more about your cat. They had like one workshop stage that was also in the middle of one of the exhibition halls. So it was very noisy. It was hard to hear the people who were speaking. And I wish they just had separate rooms for those sessions so that you could really talk and hear and learn about cats. I think there's a lot of growth there for this is their 10th year of doing it, but I still think there's a lot of growth for like having more learning and education happening and giving people a space to actually talk to each other versus just walk around a noisy convention hall. I was pretty disappointed, not really what I expected. The thing that I did like about it though was the free tote. The tote bag itself that they give you as for getting a ticket is really poppy and cute. The area where you could adopt kittens, they were all gone by the time we got there. Not that we were looking to adopt kittens, but like very popular. And that was the one area of CatCon that anyone could see a cat. And also, like, even though we didn't necessarily connect to them, the enthusiastic attendees who clearly enjoyed being there and spending the afternoon with Gillian, of course, and my husband who came too. There was like also some innovative stuff happening. Shout out to the Bongo Butt video game where your goal is to please the cat by giving it smacks. And the video game controller is a giant cat butt that you slap. That was not on my bingo card for CatCon.
No, and there was a huge line to smack that, but we would have got on the line, I think, if it wasn't so long. Yeah,
Yeah.
that speaks though to they said it was sold out, and maybe it just should have been because I think they're still ushering people in, or maybe they oversold because it was so crowded. And I think the biggest issue, and obviously not to come down on CatCon because I think there's so many lovely things about it, but the organization of it. They had these kids stations where kids were doing cat-oriented crafts. I'm like, oh, that's such a cute idea if you want to bring your kids and do something like this. There should have been a section for children and their families. There should have been a section for the educational parts, whether the workshops or the talks. So there were some talks that I even shared with Matt that I said, oh, this would kind of be neat to go to, but you wouldn't be able to hear it anyway. And then the vendors, and then organize the vendors by different types. So maybe items for the home, items that are just decorative, art stuff because it's so overwhelming. There's so many things that were catching my eye, especially as a cat owner that I wanted to check out, but I didn't know where to turn or go. And that was really frustrating.
Yeah, it was all jumbled. There was so
Right.
like, it was all mixed up. You'd have, like, an artist booth next to somebody selling artisan cat food. I think that's a great idea, and they should be taking notes. Section it by area, right? So that,
Hmm.
like, I know if I'm looking for decor, I know I can go over there, and if I'm looking for stuff like cat toys, I can go over here. I think that really would help the flow a lot, and it would
Yeah.
help people find what they're looking for.
Right. I think vendors would appreciate it too, because I think I could sense that some vendors were just getting passed by, maybe a little frustrated because you would want to go look at a new cat litter box and you get distracted by some cute toy or something like that.
Yeah, God help anybody who was near the delectables area because that line was out of control. Everyone was going, "Woo!" Spinning the wheel, getting free squeeze up, delectable things.
That was one thing I did really appreciate, all the free stuff, and you and your husband were kind enough to give me the treats that you
Yeah, we
requested.
came and collect like, as if we also had cats at home, so we get all the food, just dump it in Jillian's bag.
And they loved some of the freebies that I brought home, more so than the regular food I got them. So that was definitely worth it. And then Matt, you purchased me very kindly, and it was a really sweet gesture, this cat hat in the design of a frog. And I put it on Snickers as soon as I got home. And
She
she
love it.
honestly liked it because I also put that, what I call the Snickerhausen hat,
Mm.
from when we went to Big Bear and the beer festival. She had that little German hat and she hated that. But this frog hat, she really enjoyed. I think 'cause it was a soft material, like a very thin cloth. She wasn't wanting me to take it off. So that was adorable. And obviously, yeah, spending the day with you. We took some cute photos and we got our tickets to the Fierce exhibit at the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles. So switching to that, this exhibit started in Paris and moved to Toronto, and it also was in Chicago, and now it is in LA. So I believe that each exhibit has its own spin for the city. So there's a main beats that you hit, but it has a specific city spin when it comes to your town. And the description on the website says, spanning continents and the ages, Fierce includes an array of interactive displays, hands-on activities that will get you thinking like a cat, cultural objects, a nod to cats in pop culture, and a special focus on iconic cats of Los Angeles. This exhibition, making its West Coast debut, offers an up and close personal experience that highlights the beauty, diversity, and predatory skills of felines and illuminates the importance of protecting the world's wildcats and their habitats. So let's start off how we did with CatCon. Overall impressions.
I thought it was very well designed. It takes you through a lot of different things you can learn about cats, and that includes domestic cats, but also large cats like lions and tigers. So you begin with the evolution of cats, like how we get to the domestic cat from all of those lines of evolution. And then it goes into the science of cats. You get breakdowns of their different elements of their biology, what their whiskers do, how their eyes work, how their claws work. That then takes you to the ways humans worship them, a lot of different artifacts from all across the ages of statues of cats. My favorite item in that collection was a mummified cat from
Very cool.
Egypt. I thought the organization was really lovely. What was your overall impression of the exhibit?
I agree with you that it was very well designed. I like how the exhibit was very dark. It's almost like you're going into a cat's hidey spot. I thought it was beautiful in that way, and it was pretty well attended, in my opinion. 'Cause sometimes special exhibits, they don't really get that much love because they are extra, money. I saw all ages, older folks going by themselves, and then families. And there was someone in the corner, an employee, who was giving a rousing talk about how sharp feline teeth are, and you could touch some of the teeth. And the people he was speaking to looked riveted. So I thought it was really well plotted out. The fact that you had someone who you could speak to who was really well versed in the exhibit. But it was really nice also how they had this cartoon cat, quote unquote, guiding you through the exhibit, which makes sense because they wanted to like show the cat's place within all the other big cats in the evolution, but I don't think they wanted to put a cat's body on display, like a taxidermy cat. So they just did the cardboard cutout of this really cute tuxedo cat. And so sometimes he would talk you through the exhibit. So he would appear in hologram form, but he also, like I had mentioned, was a cutout. And I thought that was really cute. I enjoyed it, but I also think kids would really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it was a really great addition to give you that like through line through like the cats guiding you through the exhibit. I thought that was a really cute touch and gave it a lot of coherence and consistency. If I have any criticisms of the exhibit, they would be that there were a lot of taxidermied cats,
Yeah.
which is great because on one hand, you get to see all these different types of big cats that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get so close to. and all the different varieties of cats. So I think when you walk in, the first thing you see is this big row of all of these different taxidermied cats, from tigers to palace cats to mountain lions. It's really cool to see them all next to each other. And it really immediately gets you to understand that this is a very diverse family of organism. So I'm trying to find more scientific terms. Anyway, so there's a lot of taxidermy and stuff all over the place, which it's a natural history museum, so that's kind of par for the course. The animals that are in those, like behind glass, they're taxidermied. Some of my favorite parts of any natural history museum are the galleries where they have dioramas of animals where they're like behind glass and they do like the full art behind it. It's like a painting. It looks like they're in their environment, the animals. I can't get enough of that.
Yeah.
So I liked it, but I could see maybe some people feeling like, oh, this is a little bit eccentric.
Yeah, especially bringing kids.
Yeah. And then the other element of it that I would criticize is the gift shop. I was really looking forward to wasting some cash here, and I couldn't find anything I thought was very cute. The one thing I liked was a hat that said the Natural History Meowseum, a history of cats. It was like very punny, like a cute cat in the middle of the cap. I go up to the counter and the guy goes, just so you know, that's a youth size. And I guess I don't have a sense for like what size caps are because I was like, this looked fine to me. I don't know. I'm glad he said that. He gave me a heads up, but why is it that the
There's
best cap design is like, and they did have like an adult cap, but it was like one of those really boring black design, like black on black. And it's like, you can't even really see what's going on. And anyway, I just feel like they didn't let me spend money in a way that I was looking forward to. But you did get some
Yeah,
stuff
I
at
was
the
so
gift shop.
disappointed for you. Yeah, well, I also had my eye on that hat as well. But I was like, oh, I don't want to like double up. And I thought it was so cute. But I'm glad I didn't go to the register and have someone like essentially tell me I was a kid's hat, which, maybe it could have fit on your head. Who knows? I got some cute items. I got these little cat racers, like so they're Hot Wheels, but they're cats. They're called love racers. I got one each for my nephews and then one for me. I should have gotten you one too. I got a black cat, a calico, and then just an orange striped one. I think they're really cute. They did have some good items, but the hat definitely left a bitter taste, let's say. Overall, though, I really like the exhibit. There's a lot of neat facts. I liked how they reminded you that domestic cats are carnivores. I saw this blurb about how it's really important not to just give your cats kibble. You have to also give them wet food for that hydration and to feed their carnivore spirits. I wish there was a little bit more of that in the exhibit, facts about domestic cats and just kind of where they fit into everything. So it was, like you noted, Matt, very predator heavy, and that's very educational for the younger folks. But I know how predators operate. Pretty standard of what predators do and how they behave and what they eat and whatnot. But I really like the interactive video of a map that told the story of a 9,500-year-old grave in Cyprus of a man and a cat. And as one of the first identifications of a cat being domesticated. And all the human was in a separate grave. Their graves were very close by. And so I thought that was interesting 'cause I didn't know that story of that's how they like one of the first indicators of cat's domestication. So I thought that was interesting. And the cute little cartoon cat acted like he had been in the grave and he was telling the story, which I thought was really cute and fun.
Yeah, that was great. And I really liked learning about the evolution of cats. I didn't know, for example, that when it was looking at more prehistoric cats like saber-tooth tigers, that there were that kind of like large cat in North America that included North American cheetahs, which I didn't know about.
Yeah, lots of interesting facts that I'll take away. And I think it's great for whether you're going by yourself and just wanting to pass some time, or if you're bringing your family, there's just something for everyone there. But note to the staff, make some adult size history hats.
It definitely. And I agree that it's like a great exhibit to bring the family to because especially kids will learn so much about cats. We're cat enthusiasts. I'm sure we both taken our fair share of cat documentaries. So some of the information wasn't new to me, but I know that if it were, my mind would have been blown by like the way they retract their claws or the way that their vision is more motion based. One other piece of the exhibit I want to shout out because it was so cool was they have cat skeletons. It's a part of the exhibit explaining how cats, when they're falling, can right themselves so that they land on their feet. It showed the way that a cat would twist so that it would get from being upside down midair to landing on its feet. They had like 5 skeletons in a row to represent the movement of the fall. And I thought that was really a cool representation. So you could see what's happening in terms of their skeletal structure as they're making that maneuver.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting visual representations. That's a good one to shout out. Well, it's almost time for us to take a cat nap. But before we go, let's wind down with a candle review. I have the candle this week, and I was searching high and low for a cat themed candle. There were a lot of cute ones that I found, but I was looking for the ingredients list. I was like, oh, wait, this essential oil is toxic to cats. And, I'll admit, I have plenty of candles burning through my home. I'm not always rigorously looking through the ingredients list, but if I'm talking about a candle for folks who have pets, I want to make sure that I'm reviewing a candle that is pet parent approved. And so I looked at Pet House's candle line, and you can find this on Chewy's website or just any local pet stores. They might carry them. A few in my neighborhood carry them. And was founded by best friends Robert Eichner and David Newworth. And the candles were designed with pet safety in mind and the stink of cute poofy butts because they are designed to have a odor eliminating power to them. So, like when you have stinky cats, and Matt has smelled my cat's poop many a time and it has been very stinky. 2 cats, 1 box. I need to get a second box. But
Yeah, we need to get 2 litter boxes in that place.
I used to.
Or like a really big box.
Right, because I didn't want people to think I'm a cruel owner, but I had 2 boxes, but then Canella would want to eat the poop. So we had to get this really wild, almost like a glass house
It's
where
like
they have to
yeah,
go.
exactly. It's like a cat house, but it's glass with an area for the cats to get in, but your dog can't get in. And it looks almost like sleeping poopy because it's just this like glass enclosure where they have their litter box.
And it couldn't fit in the bathroom, so we had to put it in the bedrooms, but now it's like her bedroom stinking up. So anyone who understands this dilemma, I'm sure has burned a candle to try and eliminate this odor. And most of the time, you know that it masks the scent. Any candle that you get, it's just lightly covering it, doesn't actually get rid of the scent. And I have to say, the candle I got, Autumn Harvest scent, because they all have seasonal lines, at 9 ounces, and it was $23 if I have that correct. That really did eliminate the odor. So it was a nice mix of the combination of cinnamon, clove, vanilla, and musk. That warm, spicy scent. So that was really enjoyable and got me in the mood for fall. But I did notice I didn't smell the cat's poop as much. And I purposely let the poop pile up a little bit. I don't want anyone to think them just leaving poop out and not doing right by my babies. I am.
These poor cats in the name of all things cozy science.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the poop of it all, but they do a lot of pooping.
You really are a lot.
Well, yeah, but just imagine the sense of warm, spicy fragrances. Let's move on from the poop. I think it's really cute that they have seasonal lines, and I also love their origin story. They're, like I said, they're best friends. They met in middle school. One of them went to open a pet shop. The other went to work with luxury brands, like all the most luxurious brands that you can think of. I think it was Robert who was the one who had the luxury brands, and then David is the one at the pet shop. So Robert went to David's pet shop. David was talking about some candles and like, hey, like let's combine forces and let's do a candle line. I think that's a really cute story. So if you're browsing Chewy, I would recommend popping into one of the Pet House candles in your cart, or if you see it at a pet store, it's worth picking up and it's a wick up for me.
Yeah, 2 tails up.
Our 9 lives have disappeared.
Oh no.
Ominous. And this is also the part where we talk about our shout outs and thank everyone for their love and support. But we recorded this a little ahead of schedule. So if you recently left your review, we'll be sure to give you the coziest shout out ever in the next episode. And in the meantime, thank you for cheering us on.
Yes, and keep up with us online on our social media accounts. We are at All Things Cozy Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at All Things Cozy on Blue Sky. Still trying the Blue Sky. Is anyone on Blue Sky?
You're not giving up the fight. I like
I'm not
that.
giving up
Just
the
like
fight.
a scrappy cat.
Anyway, thanks for giving this episode a lick. We hope it made you purr. We'll be back in your ears with a brand new episode in just a couple more weeks. We are getting on the verge of spooky season. So October is a very exciting month for All Things Cozy. We're excited to properly be in autumn. Very happy
exciting.
for that to officially be here. And so now you can all stop telling us to pipe down until summer is properly over. You're on our turf now. Thank you for listening. And as always,
Stay cozy.